Okay. Demand, you're going to collect information from a client depending on what he wants. Some clients prefer their designs to be simple and straightforward, while some want you to be creative. So they are done with the BOA. So the next two we want to do here also is we want to try now to give it color. You can color it now, or we can just basically go ahead and merge this. So before we do that, we want to click on the BO, right? So we're going to copy this. We need it for our next test. We'll copy this over here. So we're going to edit it. So we can reduce the size of this one. Okay, so let's position this now manually. So we want it to also move upward. Nice. We want also space then, so you can space the text. So we use the line spacing over here. Okay, that's nice. So we have a lot of choices over here. We can edit each text by giving each one color over here. So let's give them color, or we can merge them together and give them color. But the best practice is for you to give them color now. So I'm going to choose color of your choice. So you can go with brown, you can go with, it just depends on the color that you want to give to this, or you can also give it a texture if you don't want to give it a color, right? So what we're going to be doing over here now, we're going to be giving this our design a texture. So let's move on. So we're going to merge the first design. So let's merge our first design. So we have the R, the A, and the BO. We want to merge them right now. So click the merge button over here. Please watch my tabs very closely. So now we have merged them together. So to give them texture, we can't edit them in the text area again. We have to move on to the image area. So open the image section. So go over to texture and click add texture. So click the image icon over there. So I'll just go over to my images, to photos. So you just choose from any image that you want to use. So I think I have some images here. Okay. Okay. We have this over here. Okay. So we have it. So we're going to maintain the ratio, or you can just stretch it while maintaining the ratio. So you can play around with this. Basically depends on you. You just play around with this. So maintain ratio, we're going to off that. We're okay with this, or we can just play around depending on how you want the texture to be or how it looks like. So we're going to scale it to 205, and that is okay. So that's what we want to do. Also, we want to give it a stroke. Nice. So I'm going to give it a stroke. So you see, stroke makes it look even more realistic, and that tool that makes it look realistic is the emboss tool. I'm going to get to that very shortly. We'll give it a stroke. So I'm using a stroke width of 2. We can increase the stroke width by pressing this icon over here. So that is that. So we're going to go over this also. So let's position this. As you can see, I move over to the text area to edit it because it's a text. It's not yet an image, but when we merge it, it will turn into an image. So I'll move it by 1 pixel. Okay. Okay, that is nice. So also we can give this a stroke and a texture, even like this. So we'll give it a texture. So go over to photos, go over to images. So we're just gonna using this over here, this silver background. I think it's the most popular right now on YouTube. So we can use this, but if this is not bright enough, we can go over to use a very lighter version, because one of the basic thing about design, you have to make sure you send a message to the customer. That's what your client basically needs, but it needs a logo that passes a message. So you can go with this for that banner. And remember, resources to get this and in description in case you need any. So you can just play around with this. It's okay by you, or you can just maintain ratio. So let's move on. I'm okay with that. So I also like to give the text a stroke. So it had a stroke of 4. We're going to give it a stroke of 2, which will be okay. So that is it for now. So one other tool we want to do right here, we want to merge both together. So let's do that. So click this overlay icon over here. They'll merge both of them. Click both of them. They'll click the merge icon. We'll show the confirmation bell. They'll click merge. So now they are together. So if you observe, if I hit this test icon, nothing appears over here again. So it has turned to image. So I have to go over to the image section, which is here. So here we have tools. But if I'm not editing any image, nothing is going to appear here, right? Except some default tools. So click the image, you see everything here changed. So we're going to go to the image. So we want to turn this into a 3D shape, right? So okay, that is it there. So we're using a depth of 13. You can want to use depth of 15, be okay. So we'll come later for this positioning. So we want to leave it at this first. Another thing that we also want to do, we want to give it an emboss to make it look more realistic. We're going to do that, but first we have to do one more thing, which is bringing in our final image. So we have this. So we're going to give it a blur radius, right? That is it over there. Using a blur radius of 0, and my offset x is minus 30, my y is 0. Okay, so right now I want to bring in another image from gallery. So we can bring, because in this design the client basically has a bow attached to its image. So I've removed the background of this image already using a tool called an app called background eraser. So you can go download the app on Play Store, just search background eraser, it will erase it for you. So you don't need Photoshop to remove the background. There are a lot of apps out there that will gladly do that for you for free. So we have this over here. So what we're going to do, so we'll take that nice and good. So I will edit it. So I also like to make this a 3D shape, right? Okay, the depth we'll leave it at 15. Nice and good. So there's no need to give it a stroke. That is okay. So we also want to position this, so we'll reduce the height. So go back to shadows. So I'm going to give the blur radius to 0. So we want to also move this a little bit. Okay, so next we want to do also here, we want to emboss this. Okay, that is it. So we reduce the bevel, so give it a bevel of 5. It's okay. We're going to increase specular hardness to 100. The ambient lighting, we're going to leave it at 100. The intensity at 100. So you can see the intensity over it. If you watch closely, you're going to see as we revolve the degrees, it changes, the lightning changes. So that is intensity working. So when we reduce intensity, you're going to see no effect. But when we increase intensity, the effect is more visible. So we're going to make the light come from up, right? That's okay. We're going to leave it at 50. So also what we want to do also here, we want to emboss this. Nice, the same thing. We leave it at 5. So we'll make the specular hardness 100. The ambient lightning also, and also give it an intensity. Okay. So the next thing we want to do, we want to merge both of them together. So come over here, shall create your design, and you merge both together. So I've merged them together. So what we also want to do here, we can also play around with this over here. So you can see if we on the emboss tool also, it's also going to show us as though we haven't embossed both of them, but we have. So we're not going to be needing that. So what we're going to be doing now, we're going to be positioning this right in our background. So go over to the last, okay, the last two here is to edit the background. Right, these two over here, two layers, these two, a picture of two layers overlaid together is to change the background. So I'm going to go from gallery. So we want to give it a background. You can give it a background of your choice. So if your client business uses a white background most of the time on our products, you can use that. And if the client says you should be creative, then you know what to use a design of your choice. That makes sense. But over here I have some of the most popular designs that is mostly used on Pixellab, the most popular backgrounds. So we can just pick one of these. So I think I'm gonna go with this. Right, so you see background makes everything look really nice. So I'm going to position this, we're going to position this in the middle. So go to relative position this in the middle, right? So as you can see, the background is not in the middle, but we're positioning stuffs in the middle. So what we can do with that is we can also do this. Go over to the plus icon, we choose from gallery, then go to our photos. This is another way of adding background. If your background is not positioned by default at the center, so you just go over, you choose the background you need, then you can expand this, right? Good, and position this in the center. That's the position center now. Okay, so one of the last you also want to do, you want to also move this to the back. So you're going to move to the back, right? So that's something you want to do if you want to do that. So we want to move on now. Okay, that is if you want to do that. We're going to delete that over here. So our default background is okay. So we can also decide to rotate this. So we can come over to 3D rotate, and we can play around the Y and X axis over here. That is if we desire to make it look even more realistic or minimalist. So current X size of 2 and Y axis of 19. Okay, then we can also go back to our position. Make sure the design is always positioned at the middle. So you can simply also add your watermark in case it's not meant for a client and the client has not paid you. Always remember to add a watermark to this. You can personalize this by adding something like this. Right now, the name of my agency is Zare Designs, so I can just add something like this by Zare Designs. This don't have to take much of a time. You can just position it everywhere. You don't need to make it more visible. You can make it small, and you can just use a default font that I like. I like using this default font from Pixellab just by Zare Designs. Then you can reduce the text size because it doesn't have to be much visible. You can reduce the text size. This will be okay. Then you can just position it. Okay, just something this simple. You don't have to be huge. So this is basically everything about creating this simple text logo, but there's an image, it's a professional logo. And for this kind of logo, when you design it for yourself, for your business with your smartphone, is cool. And if a designer designing it for a client, is okay, and you can charge as much as you want because it's a professional logo. So to the last stage of this, we're going to be saving it. So the save icon is over here. You can save this as project if you want to work on it on later time, and also we can also save this as an image. So we have two choices. So you want to save it as a project, it won't be in your phone. It's just a project which you can come back and revisit and work on. It will be on Pixellab. But if you want to save it as an image, that is if you want to send to a client. So you should get something over here. Note this. So the format is in JPEG, but you can choose between JPEG and PNG, but JPEG is better, so JPG. And the quality, there's a custom quality for it, but the custom quality is not that good and effective. If your design, you know that it's going to be used by the client, it's going to be printed out, you should make sure you go for the ultra quality. So I went over to dimensions. So you click this drop down button, ultra. Now ultra definitely means that your designs will be very well resizable. It won't get blur when you start printing it out, right? Even in a large banner or in handbags, in packages. So ultra quality is the best, but it takes time for the ultra quality to save to your phone. But the smaller quality, it just takes minutes for it to save. So you can wait for like 2 minutes, 3 minutes. You're going to click save to gallery. So it's going to render the image that is in that quality. So it's trying to change your design, that is add some quality to your design, so it's going to appear nice and bright. So that image saved. Okay, that was quick. So we're done with it. So if you enjoyed this tutorial and think it added to your graphic design career, your journey, thanks, and you also know what to do. I don't have to tell you what to do if you need more of these designs. Thank you very much, and sorry for the background noises. I want to see you once again in the next video.